Let's go right to the phones. Looking forward to this conversation. Judge Jeanine Pirro from Fox News. Judge, welcome to Wake Up Tucson. How are you?
I'm good. And, when you said that in the introduction, presidential campaigns, dog catcher.
Yep.
Did people run for dog catcher? I mean, it's a phrase we use all the time. I should find out what the ideology of that is. But anyway, it's good to be with you.
I wish we did vote for dog catcher. That'd be...
Keep us grounded,
some people I have in mind I could nominate immediately.
So I just heard Chuck Schumer on the bottom of the hour news said the moving the Judge Barrett to the floor of the Senate for approval is, quote, a sham. You
know what? Chuck Schumer, and I'm embarrassed to say he's my United States Senator, is living in an alternate reality. The sham apparently is the Constitution to him. But, look, Schumer is the one who's been crying about everything and is complaining about Donald Trump. And at the end of the day, the president has the right to nominate someone. In fact, he has a constitutional obligation to do that. And there was a hearing. The left couldn't do anything to her. Look, Amy Coney Barrett is a woman of unparalleled integrity, intelligence, and experience. Call it a day and just live with the fact that the president has a vacancy and he's filling it. End of the story. The left has a hissy fit every time the president does something, and they've had a hissy fit from the moment they couldn't drag Hillary across the finish line.
Correct.
And I think America's fed up with it. And that's why I wrote the book, Don't Lie to Me and Stop Trying to Steal Our Freedom. They're trying now to steal our freedom because they couldn't drag Hillary across the finish line. And now what they're saying is, this pandemic, it's so terrible, you have to stay in your houses. But look, we're going to open the borders. Don't you worry about that. And we're going to defund the police. But don't worry about that because we'll take away your guns, too, so that you can't even protect yourself then. What the left is trying to do is this is a petri dish in socialism, this whole pandemic effort by the left, continuing it. And I'm a New Yorker. And who loves Arizona, by the way. I used to spend my kids' spring break in Arizona all the time when they were little. Now, of course, they're adults. They go their own way. But, with what they want to do is they want to take away our guns while they defund the police. And, it's beyond. And you land in an airport in New York now, and the Army is there in their fatigues and their black boots and the logo Army, and you cannot get by them. They want your name. They want everything about you, where you live, your telephone number, just in case you've got an issue, and they will track you for weeks. And they're doing that. I mean, this is crazy. New York City is a ghost of its former self, and everything that's going on is the left trying to change America from a capitalist country to a socialist country. We were soaring with the economy and with the president, and we'll be soaring again if he's given a chance. But these leftists, whether it's, Chuck Schumer and the nonsense he cries about all the time, or Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Look, Joe Biden was just a half hour, 40 minutes away from where Obama was yesterday when Obama came to make a speech for him. He couldn't even leave his house. Now, you want to tell me what's going on with that?
Well, we just had the president here on Monday for an event that was just, it'll make you believe in America again, just seeing the people in the cross section of humanity. It was really inspiring. If you can't tell by the unassuming quiet voice on the line, we're hanging out with Judge Jeanine Pirro. She's got the new book out. Now, let me ask you, I think it might be part of your book, and it's something we've discussed on the show over, and of course the book is called Don't Lie to Me, is what in the makeup of Americans, I feel like we gave up our freedoms so quick in the last 6 months. I am astounded that the churches laid down as hard as they did also, because the Catholic Church has embarrassed itself this last 6 months and how quick they've laid down. I'm a cradle Catholic.
Wow.
So tell me what's in the makeup of America that we gave up our freedoms that quick.
Kudos to you for bringing that up, and I talk about it in the book. Don't lie to me and stop trying to steal our freedom. Look, there are two issues here. There is a discrimination against churches and houses of worship. That is an absolute fact. So you can go out and you can protest all you want. You can buy booze and weed, whatever you want to do, but don't you dare go to church. And then the United States Supreme Court comes down with a decision. Good old John Roberts flipping again. And John Roberts, in the majority decision, if you want to go to a multiplex theater, with 18 theaters, you want to go to the movies, that's great. That's wonderful. If you want to go to a casino and gamble your tail off, have at it. Have a great time. But don't you dare go to a chapel in numbers higher than 49. This is an outrage. Pastors, parishioners have been ticketed for going to church. I mean, it is the freedom of religion is a fundamental right of Americans. This is a country that was born of Judeo-Christian ethics. And when you ask the most important question, why were they so willing to just be quiet and obey? It may be in the way that we're raised that you turn the other cheek, but I don't like it, and I don't like it one bit, because people like myself are fighting for the churches when the churches aren't fighting for themselves. And you got to worry about that, because there has been no president who has been better to Christianity than President Donald Trump. Nobody. While the left wants to have third-term abortions, and even, once a child is born, the mother in an up or down thumbs movement like the emperor in the Roman Colosseum, she can decide whether that baby lives or dies. They make the child comfortable, and then, maybe I don't want it. Let it go. The church is incredibly quiet on a lot of this stuff. And I worry about that. I worry about religion, because freedom of religion is part of the First Amendment, and the First Amendment free speech. They've got us in a lock on that. Politically correct speech. If your speech is not politically correct, you can lose your job. You can be fired. And if you go to church, you can get ticketed. I mean, a lot of these churches are closing down. They're just turning the other cheek and saying, "Oh, okay, the pandemic, we can't." Nonsense.
So what happened? What happens with the Twitters and Facebooks of the world, especially when spiking the posts Hunter Biden story? When do they get started? 'Cause I'm on radio, right? We're FCC regulated, right? But these guys can just spike crap left and right. Should the Twitters of the world be under the FCC?
Absolutely, and they should be considered a publisher, because as soon as Jack Dorsey and his group gets involved in a communication between you and another person you're tweeting with, they are overhearing it, so to speak. They are interfering with that communication. They are making a judgment call. That is fascism. That is big tech, big tyranny, and big brother. And if Congress doesn't do something about that, if they're not paid, these Congress people, to make sure they win their next election, which is why we need term limits, that's another issue. But if they are not exempted from a 230, which gives them immunity under the Communications Decency Act, then we got a big problem. This is fascism. This is socialism. You are not allowed to speak unless you do it in a certain way, and we will not let you think or communicate unless you do so with information that we approve. This is craziness, and Americans and Arizonans and everyone else need to understand that the Constitution is on the ballot. Our freedom is on the ballot. The left, Joe Biden is nothing more than a Trojan horse for the left. And they believe, like Black Lives Matter, the organization, they believe in Marxism and communism, and they don't believe in the nuclear family, and they want to tear down the government. And what they're saying, it's the Harris administration. And Nancy Pelosi, her favorite is Kamala Harris.
Talk to me about the K through 12 and, of course, university system, and how it also leads to a population that's willing to give up its freedoms as fast as it did. I assume this is in Don't Lie to Me also.
Yes, it is. I mean, what we talk about with education is, who are these people? Why is the young generation so willing to accept all this? They're not even offended by it. It's because they go to schools where the 1619 Project, the New York Times Project, where they learn that America is a country that has its genocide and hate and racism. And, and that we are a country that tries to control other countries, and America isn't that great. And so that's why the president came out with his 1776 project, where he wants to rebut that and talk about the greatness that America is, the opportunities that exist here, and making sure that people recognize that once that's gone, it won't be America anymore. But, yeah, they're indoctrinated. This has been a movement that's been in the works for a long time. It didn't just happen on the death of George Floyd on May 25th, and, God, we all were horrified by what happened there. But all of a sudden you find pallets and bricks in the middle of a pandemic to tear down business and crowbars to empty the shelves in businesses. The police are told to stand down or they're not even deployed. This is not the America we want. Donald Trump is the one who said, I believe in law and order 4 years ago, which is music to my ears. I mean, I've been a prosecutor, judge, and DA for over 3 decades. So I'm like, yeah, I'm into law and order, Mr. Trump. But at the same time, I didn't think it was an issue. He was prescient. It is an issue. It is the essence of whether or not we survive as a nation.
So, Judge, we've had these governors. Now, Arizona's partially open. And what happened was our governor gave up the power to the municipalities to do their thing. He's calling it delegating. We're calling it throwing the rest of us to the wolves, okay? So the hundreds of petty tyrants that have been set up, from county supervisors down to the assistant manager at Safeway that wants to yell at you about your mask. After we get through this election, is it going to take the civil disobedience of Americans to finally say enough?
Well, I think it's a sad commentary. You get these people who've never had real power before, and they're like they're very excited that people have to listen to them and they can control people and decide whether they go to work or whether they get arrested for going to work and coming out of their house.
Amen, sister.
It is a pathetic effort on the part of the governor to not stand up and take responsibility for his state. And I hope people remember that when they go to vote again. But I think that the second term of Donald Trump, when they start to understand that they're not going to stop him, that the hissy fit they've been having since the day the president was elected, even before when they tried to frame him with Russia collusion and all that other nonsense, that it's got to stop because it's not going to work anymore. The president even indicated when I interviewed him a few weeks back that if it continues at the level that it's continuing, that he'll use the Insurrection Act. And I think that that's what Americans want. They want the ability to be able to go about their lives. They don't want to be interrupted by people tearing down businesses, burning cities and streets, yelling at residents. I used to live here. My uncle used to live here. You have to leave. This is anarchy, chaos, and this is exactly what the left wants and exactly what our president opposes.
My last question for you, just because of the Hunter Biden stuff going on right now, how much juice is going to come out of that before we actually get to an election day?
Well, the interesting part of the Hunter Biden thing is that we already knew the skeleton of the story, that Hunter was collecting millions from a Ukraine energy company, and that his father went over, and his father admitted it, told him, you're not getting $1 billion in American money if you don't take the prosecutor off that company, and that's the company his son was working for, which is kind of amazing, where he admitted it openly himself. But, they had a vacuum cleaner. They went to Kazakhstan now, we know, $3.5 million from Russia, and then, then $1.5 billion from China, communist China. So there's a lot the Bidens haven't denied. It's the Hunter's laptop. They haven't said it was hacked, and curiously, Big Tech said, we have to take it down. It was hacked. Well, they never said it was hacked. And by the way, there are pictures of Joe Biden with the very people that from Burisma, the energy company, that they're playing golf. And, Joe Biden says, I know nothing about my son's business. And now Hunter Biden's partner is saying that's not true. Joe Biden was very much a part of all of this. So you have to be disgusted by the effort of the Bidens to, collect money on the American job, whereas Donald Trump is the president. He gave up billions to be able, well, he was a billionaire already is what I should say, and he gave up the ability to continue to work in order to fight for this country. And these people of mediocre means who end up with palaces and mansions and tens of millions and hundreds of millions of dollars, we've got to ask, why is that happening? And, we need to bring in prosecutors to decide whether or not they're leveraging American global policy on their ability to line their pockets. And we saw that with Hillary Clinton selling uranium to the Russians.
I know.
We saw it, with Obama saying, tell Vlad I'll have more flexibility after the election.
Judge, we're running out of time. You have been amazing. As a former Brooklyn, Queens, Long Island guy, I feel like I'm back at home talking over a slice of pizza. So congratulations on the book. Good luck, and hopefully we can do this again, okay?
All right. Thank you. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Judge Jeanine Pirro, Fox News.